This is the story of a nation that shouldn't exist. A people who lost their homeland 2000 years ago, were scattered across every continent, survived the worst genocide in human history, and against all odds returned to the exact same land their ancestors left. This is the story of Israel, and it's more incredible than any fiction ever written. Today, Israel is a tiny country, smaller than New Jersey, home to just 9 million people, but this small strip of land sitting between the Mediterranean Sea and the Jordan River has been fought over for 3000 years. It's sacred to three of the world's largest religions. It's been ruled by Egyptians, Assyrians, Babylonians, Persians, Greeks, Romans, Byzantines, Arabs, Crusaders, Ottomans, and the British. To understand why Israel exists today and why it's the center of so much conflict, we need to go back to the very beginning. So grab a coffee. This is the complete history of Israel. Our story begins around 2000 BC, 4000 years ago. According to Jewish tradition, a man named Abraham led his family from Mesopotamia, modern-day Iraq, into a land called Canaan. This is what we now call Israel and Palestine. Abraham had a son named Isaac, Isaac had a son named Jacob, and Jacob had 12 sons who became the 12 tribes of Israel. But a famine forced these tribes to move to Egypt, where over generations they became slaves for 400 years. Then came Moses. According to the Bible, he led the Israelites out of Egypt in the famous Exodus, wandered the desert for 40 years, and eventually brought them back to the promised land. Around 4000 BC, the tribes united under one king, King Saul. He was followed by King David, who conquered Jerusalem and made it the capital of Israel. David's son, King Solomon, built the first temple, a massive structure that became the center of Jewish worship and identity. This was Israel's golden age, but it didn't last. After Solomon's death, the kingdom split in two, the kingdom of Israel in the north and the kingdom of Judah in the south. In 722 BC, the mighty Assyrian Empire crushed the northern kingdom, scattering 10 of the 12 tribes forever. They became known as the Lost Tribes of Israel. And in 586 BC, the Babylonians conquered Judah, destroyed Solomon's temple, and dragged the Jews into exile in Babylon. The Jewish homeland was gone, or so it seemed. For the next 600 years, the land of Israel became a trophy, passed between one empire after another. First came the Persians. In 538 BC, Persian King Cyrus the Great allowed the Jews to return home and rebuild their temple. This became known as the Second Temple. Then came Alexander the Great and the Greeks in 332 BC, bringing Greek culture, language, and philosophy. After Alexander's empire collapsed, a Jewish family called the Maccabees led a successful revolt in 164 BC, creating an independent Jewish kingdom for the first time in centuries. This is what Hanukkah celebrates. But independence didn't last long. In 63 BC, the Romans arrived. Led by the general Pompey, they conquered Jerusalem and made Judea a Roman province. This is when Jesus of Nazareth was born, around 4 BC. He preached, gathered followers, and was crucified by the Romans around 30 AD, giving birth to Christianity. The Jews hated Roman rule. In 66 AD, they launched a massive rebellion. The Romans responded with brutal force. In 70 AD, Roman general Titus besieged Jerusalem, slaughtered hundreds of thousands, and destroyed the Second Temple, leaving only the Western Wall standing. To this day, the Western Wall remains the holiest site in Judaism. The Jews rebelled one more time in 132 AD, the Bar Kokhba revolt. This time, the Romans were even more merciless. They killed over 500,000 Jews. They renamed the land Syria Palestina to erase Jewish identity from the land, and they banned Jews from ever entering Jerusalem again. The Jewish people were scattered across the Roman Empire, the beginning of what's called the diaspora. For the next 1800 years, Jews would have no homeland. This is one of the most incredible stories in human history. For nearly 2 millennia, the Jewish people lived without a country. They spread across Europe, the Middle East, North Africa, and eventually the Americas. Yet somehow through countless generations, they kept their identity, language, religion, and traditions alive. Every year at Passover, Jews around the world would say the same words, "Next year in Jerusalem." Meanwhile, the land of Israel itself changed hands many times. In 638 AD, Arab Muslim armies conquered Jerusalem. They built the Dome of the Rock and Al-Aqsa Mosque on the Temple Mount, making Jerusalem holy to Islam. Then came the Crusades from 1096 to 1291. Christian European armies invaded to take Jerusalem back. They succeeded briefly, then lost it. In 1517, the Ottoman Empire took control and would rule the land for the next 400 years. Throughout all of this, Jews lived scattered across the world, often as second-class citizens. In Europe, they faced brutal persecution, massacres called pogroms, forced conversions.